Hello friends and welcome to the channel. Today we are doing what the title says. I'm going to be fan casting my Mean Girls 2, okay? We had the OG and we really haven't been able to get anything good since then because we had Mean Girls 2 made by like ABC Family or whatever, and that was trash, okay? Trash. One of the first things that I talked about on my podcast was Mean Girls 2 and everything that was wrong with it. If you haven't already checked it out, I definitely would recommend it. I haven't watched that video in a while, so I don't know if it's actually good anymore, but needless to say. But then we got Mean Girls the musical, and that was like okay. But it wasn't what we wanted, you know? It's not what I wanted anyway. So today I'm going to fan cast Mean Girls 2, okay? I'm going to tell you the story possibilities, and the cast possibilities, and then I want to share outfit ideas that I have. So that'll be fun. So for me, I feel like the story has to be something different than what we've heard. So the original story is that the new girl shows up and she kind of causes a rift, right? I have four main ideas. Number one, we get a 22 Jump Street situation where the roles are reversed. We've got somebody who's coming in and they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna be popular. But then they show up and like the mean girls aren't popular anymore. Like the nerd girls are popular. And it's like everything is on its head, right? My second idea is sort of a Bratz versus Barbies bring it on situation. Okay? So we all know sort of what happened when Bratz really started to show up on the scene and people were like, okay, so Barbie got a little bit of a makeover to sort of compete with her. And so I think what would be fun is that we have these main mean girls and stuff. We have the plastics. But then this new group of girls shows up and they're like, hold up. You're not in charge anymore. We're in charge. Okay, and so there ends up being a feud, and that's sort of like what the end of Mean Girls 2 sort of was trying to do, where they had like a little feud there. It didn't make any sense, but in my world it would make sense. Okay, the actual, fighting amongst girl groups and stuff. The third one is in a world after the plastics have ceased to exist. So somewhere down the line, they have ceased to exist, and somebody is like, this isn't right. I'm bringing them back. So we're living in a future where peace is true, is real, okay? But someone wants to interrupt the peace and bring back the plastics. And finally, we have college Mean Girls. I think this one is the most solid idea because I think that it could have the underlying moral, I guess, that Mean Girls never really grow up. They never really cease to exist in adulthood because they just get older. Mean Girls are always going to be there. They just continue to get older, right? And I think that's really a really important lesson that a lot of people need to learn, is that the mean girls from high school are just going to continue to be mean girls, but they'll be older and it'll be even more pathetic, So I think that one's a solid idea. As for the casting, I decided to cast people that I think would be best in the college storyline. So these people are a little bit too old, in my opinion, to play teenagers. I don't think they should play teenagers anymore. This group of people, they're all very, like for the most part, I don't think they really have acted together. But that's neither here nor there. Okay. For my Katie Heron, okay, because I'm going to keep the same names, right? For my Katie Heron, I've got Zendaya. Love of my life, I've got Zendaya, right? I think that she, reads young enough to be in college. So I think that would be a good role for her, right? I think she has been reading as kind of this tomboy-esque type of girl, but she still has like the feminine wiles of being beautiful and alluring to other people. So I think she would work out great as someone who is just trying to chill and then people are being rude to her, right? For my Regina, I have Chloe Grace Moritz. I think that she has, like, I feel like her face, just the way her face is shaped, like her features, I think they could read really good as Regina. She's blonde in most of her movies, and I think she's just too old to be playing a teenager too. So that's I tried to pick people in their 20s. But she's a pretty popular actress, and I think that she would do a pretty good job of being Regina, of being like nice and stuff, but I think that Regina still needs to have like this meanness to her, like this inherent mean look to her that the original Regina didn't have. And I think that's why she was kind of scary. I think that's why Rachel McAdams was like, this underlying evil. I want my Regina to look a little evil. And I think Chloe Grace Moritz, I think her sort of like very like pointy, sort of like she has a very like clear and pronounced like lip line and nose and eyes. I think that reads very like she could be mean. So I don't know, that's my opinion. I don't think she's a mean person in real life. I don't know her, I just mean in general, that's the way it could read. For my Janice, I have Elle Fanning. I know, she's like this kind of sweet looking, she just doesn't read any kind of way. And I know that Janice is like this grungy outcast. I want my Janice to be sort of just like a simple girl. I want her to have kind of a simple, ordinary look. Not necessarily homely looking, but like still pretty, but not like crazy, like so pretty that you just can't ignore it. But like I think Elle Fanning could do an understated pretty. I think she does that really well, that she just has these really soft features about her, and I think she could be my Janice. For my Gretchen, I would like to have Josie Tota. I think she would do a really great job. I thought that we need a little more color on the screen, a little more diversity, and I think that she would do a great job with that. I think it would be great for her career to be in some more stuff, and I think she would rock being Gretchen. Like, I think she would enjoy especially like the aesthetic that I have for Gretchen. So you'll see here shortly. And finally, for Karen, I have Ariel Winter. I love me a redhead, for one. I think Karen is kind of this like booby bimbo kind of girl, and I think Ariel Winter could do that really well. I think she could play dumb pretty well, and I think like she has a larger chest, and so I think that she would be able to sort of rock that. And did she get a breast reduction? I can't remember, but I think she would be able to play that role really well. So for outfits, this is the most exciting part for me. I created 4 different outfits, one for the main 3 plastics, and then for Katie. So, and this is with the people that I have cast in mind. So, yeah. I started off with Gretchen. Gretchen is very clearly like this preppy rich girl type, okay? And we're gonna keep her that way. I wanted to put her in some sort of pleated skirt, but I wanted it to be something that wasn't immediately plaid pleated. Like that combo is a little played out for like rich girl status. I think we could do something a little more casual, so I decided on this white pleated skirt. The pleats are really close together, so there's a lot more of them. I also wanted to do some sort of loafer. I think loafers kind of scream preppy, so I think a loafer with some socks. I think a loafer with some socks would be cute. I especially like these because they had the little heart on it, and I think that Gretchen's thing would be sort of a nod to like coquette. So I think she would do hearts and bows for her stuff. Then for the top, I wanted an off shoulder. I think that's really pretty. I think it screams, I don't like to do work, okay? Like showing the shoulders where it's like you kind of can't move. There's like a stiffness to it. And I know in the original, Regina wears an off the shoulder shirt. I don't care. This is Gretchen, okay? She's going to wear more of an off the shoulder type thing because I just think it reads really pretty and has kind of an elegance to it, and I think that's what my Gretchen will read as. But we still play into the plaid reading as like preppy and rich girl, and so I wanted to do a tote with that, like a plaid tote with some pink in it. I think it's a real nod to like the original and stuff, so like I think that's great. And her jewelry is gold, always gold for Gretchen, right? I think she's a charm bracelet girly. I just think she's the kind of girl who would wear a charm bracelet, a very expensive one. And of course, I think she would wear a necklace with her off the shoulder top. So I know they're kind of like different, but they're still, I think they go together pretty well. Next, I moved on to Karen. This was one that I wasn't really sure about because I was thinking more of like a mermaidy aquamarine moment, because I think that's a popular aesthetic. But then I saw this absolutely gorgeous, precious baby doll dress. I think this one that has the pleats and ruffles on it is just so cute. I feel like that is something that Karen would gravitate towards, that she would just want to go for something short and sweet, nothing crazy. I think she would just pick things that she likes that match. So she would have her little pearl bracelet, nothing crazy, and then these strappy sandal heels. I think those are really cute. They have the little bows on them and they match the dress. And then I think she would be a trinket charm girl. So we have the cute pink bag to go with her dress, and then we have a little Hello Kitty trinket thing to put on the bag. I feel like that's where it would be. And then of course I thought of red hair, I thought of Ariel Winter, and I just think it would be super cute. Then I decided to do Regina. Now my Regina, she's a little more like, I always felt like Regina she had this normal look to her, that the reason she was beautiful was because she was skinny and because she just rocked like designer stuff that, like, in a lot of stuff that's more expensive doesn't necessarily have to look expensive, it just has to be expensive. And so that was kind of what I'm going for, but I just want her to have a more casual look because her personality is really what, will hurt people, not her looks necessarily. So she's a little more casual, okay? She doesn't dress up the way the other girls dress up because that's just who she is. And I remember when I was in college anyway, a lot of the girls who had money, they just wore sweatpants to class. Unless you were like an international student, you were probably wearing sweatpants to class and you probably had money. Like you had your coffee and your sweatpants. So this, I feel like, reads college. Anyway, I put her in some jeans, some cute jeans. They're just like boot cut jeans, nothing crazy. This like cute little It's a crop top. I would probably want it to be longer. That's just my opinion. I would just want it to be longer. But I like the sort of square neckline with the little like cap sleeve type thing happening. I just think it's really cute, and like the lacy sort of nature of it. It reads very feminine, very like sexy. You think of like intimate items and stuff like that when you see that, so it like definitely gives that vibe. It makes me think of Cher from Clueless, where she's like, if you want them to notice your legs, you gotta like point your legs out. That's what I'm saying. You gotta like, that's what Regina does. She sort of like points people in the direction she wants them to think. However, she's still a casual girly. So she's wearing some tennis shoes. These would be expensive tennis shoes, and they would be in pink and white or just all pink. She would definitely be a girly who had her ears pierced across. Like, she would have a lot of piercings, and she would fill each and every one of them with something gold. And finally, we have this cute nod to the 2000s purse. It's, I mean, you can see it. It looks like a purse from the 2000s. And I feel like that's the kind of girly she would be. Finally, we have Cady Heron. Cady Heron is Zendaya. Okay? So she has a casual look to her. And I picture Cady Heron as someone who makes her items. Like in the first movie, we see her and it's like, oh, my mom made this bracelet, right? I think that like my Cady Heron, she's an artsy girl, okay? She's a arts and crafts girl, and she makes stuff. So in this, she's wearing this cropped sweater. It's kind of a preppy style, but that's okay. But it is crocheted, okay? She's a crochet girly like myself. Not only that, but her jewelry. This could be a necklace or it could be a bracelet. I don't really know which one it is, but like it would be one that's sort of mismatchy, and I think she would still go for something denim. But I think she'd go for a denim skirt. I don't think she'd wear like jeans and stuff because she's not showing off her body. She just wants to wear what's comfortable. And I think a denim skirt that was like sort of slim, not necessarily like tight, not really baggy or anything. I think it would just be like fit just right. And of course she would wear some tennis shoes, and I think she would match it with her top or not. I don't know. It depends. And then she would have a flip phone, because this is the 2000s and we want to nod as much to the 2000s as possible. And this bag is so cute. I was gonna get rid of it because I thought it didn't go, but then I was like, no, she made this bag, okay? She's proud of it, so she doesn't care what outfit she has on. She is wearing this bag, okay? I just think this bag is gorgeous. So Miss Cady, she made this bag, okay? Not only that, but she did her hair, okay? And I think her hair, I think she'd have different hairstyles in like every scene. Like every time you see her, she has a different hairstyle, and not in a like because she's a black girl kind of way, but because she's an inventor, okay? She wants people to like see what she can do with her hair because she's got this nice long hair. She wants to play with it. She wants people to see it. So that's kind of my intention with that. But those are all of the outfits. I didn't make one for Janice. I don't really have a clear thought of that. I think she would be drawn to Cady because I think Janice is somebody who maybe doesn't have that artistic nature that Cady has. But maybe even if she does, they're very different in art. Like she's more of like a painter, whereas Cady has a lot of different media that she uses instead of just one medium. But I could definitely see Janice being like white t-shirt with paint on it and some jeans, some baggy jeans. Like she's a simple girly. She doesn't draw attention, but she also is not, like, I think it's her face that's not ugly. Like she just has this soft face, you know? So I think it's more about the actress than it is about the outfit for my Janice. And I think that's just the way that college would be, is that And the thing about college, though, is that everyone can mind their own business, but if you're in other people's business, you have a problem, okay? You are stuck in high school if you are trying to mind other people's business. So that's sort of my thought behind that. Either way, I had a fun time with this because Mean Girls is one of my favorite movies, and I love fashion, especially early 2000s fashion, and that movie is just very representative of the time. And so I think that there should be some nod to it, but I feel like a lot of the newer stuff just gets overdone to the point that it doesn't make any sense anymore. And I just feel like my fashion sense really makes a little more sense for people who are maybe in college, who like maybe dress up a little bit, you know? So yeah, that's my thought. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if there's another movie that you'd want me to fan cast, like the sequel to or something like that, because I'd love to do this again. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.